we are underway here in our second match. Looks like a Salumgar has just been cast by Jonathon Moore. He'll be passing the turn back over to Michael, who has a Goblin Rabblemaster in play along with a tapped Goblin Token. He'll be untapping and drawing here as we work our way into the second game. Both these players are 9-1.
Well, I'll tell you, if you told me that next to my black-white cards, I could either have blue cards or red cards, I'll tell you which side I'm on. That said, Jonathon at 2, Michael casts Crackling Doom. We're going to go to a game 3.
We are going to go to a game 3. Crackling Doom is a heck of a card, especially in this matchup. You would think that Crackling Doom would be a bad card against control decks, but that's not the case because these dragons have hexproof in some fashion between Dragonlord Ojutai and Slumguard the Drifting Death, so Crackling Doom is actually very good in this matchup.
I mean, remember, Esper Dragons is a lot more like a mid-range deck than a control deck, and Crackling Doom is exceptional against mid-range.
And both these players are going to shuffle up here for game number 3, I imagine, pretty quickly. We'll take a look at the sideboards here. Jonathon Moore will be on the play for game number 3. He's got a Negate, a Disdainful Stroke, a Stratus Dancer, an Ultimate Price, a copy of Perilous Vault, 3 Ashiok Nightmare Weavers, 2 Drown in Sorrows, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, a Vile Blight, an Aether Spouts, and a copy of Dragonlord's Prerogative. You have to imagine the games are going to go a little bit later here because Mardu Dragons is more of a mid-rangey deck too, so some card drawing effects like Dragonlord's Prerogative probably pretty good here.
Dragonlord's Prerogative seems good. Disdainful Stroke is always excellent against mid-range decks. I'm interested to see whether or not Jonathon Moore goes on the Ashiok plan. He has 3 of them in the sideboard, but none of them in the main. Now, that's typically good against green decks, as most of the mid-range decks of the format are green. That said, Mardu Dragons is very mid-rangey, and wouldn't be shocked to see Jonathon board in Ashiok.
Yeah, I think Ashiok could actually be okay in this matchup. It seems like a card that's difficult for Michael to get off of the table. What does Michael have access to?
So what Michael gets to do is he just has threats that are difficult for Esper Dragons to deal with. He's really going into that enchantment slot. So 2 copies of Outpost Siege, 2 copies of Mastery of the Unseen. He can start with that. He's actually well suited for this matchup. Then gets to go bigger, 2 copies of Read the Bones and a Thoughtseize in his sideboard. 2 Thoughtseize in the main, so this is Thoughtseize number 3. And also can put in another Kolaghan's Command. That's actually a very good card against control.
That's my favorite command, but it's better in older formats, it seems.
Note these guys are starting game 3 with 5 minutes, so we're going to see some pretty fast magic.
We saw some pretty fast shuffling to get ready for game number 3. So we'll see if these guys can actually figure out who is going to be victorious, or maybe they'll work their way towards a draw. We're going to play Dismal Backwater. He's up to 21.
Yeah, now, remember, both these players can win in this time. Cards like Ojutai can close the game pretty quickly for Jonathon. For Villavicencio, he has cards like Rabblemaster. That shouldn't be an issue at all. Mastery's his play. It's definitely good here. It doesn't win quickly, though.
Yeah, that one's a little slow. If these players had like 15 minutes, Mastery would be a real backbreaker, but given that they have about 4 now, not only are they going to have to pick up the pace, but I think Mastery might just be too slow. He might have to ignore that game plan.
Seeker lands 2 copies of Kolaghan the Storm's Fury in Villavicencio's hand.
Those are ways to close out the game. There's a Seeker of the way. That's going to resolve maybe a Foul Tongue Invocation, some sort of removal spell. There's a removal spell. It'd be an Ultimate Price.
Ultimate's pretty good there. Live against only parts of Villavicencio's deck. Moore has to keep those kind of cards in so that he doesn't get Rabblemastered out of the game. But I like using Ultimate Price early here, as it's definitely can get dead pretty quickly.
Seeker the way to draw here for Michael. Bloodstained Mire just passing the turn. We'll probably see a Mastery activation at the end of Moore's turn.
Yeah, the option between Seeker of the Way and making a Manifest. Might as well take the card advantage route and use the Manifest.
There's an activation of Bloodstained Mire. Down to 19. We'll see a little Manifest action here, I think, in just a moment.
There's an Urborg in place, so he could have hung on to that fetch land. Those are the kind of things that when you're playing really quickly, you tend to miss, which is pretty understandable. It's 1 life and is unlikely to matter in this matchup.
Manifest time. It's a mystery to everyone but Michael, as he'll take a draw.
No turn 5 Ojutai from Jonathon. Either he doesn't have it or that's not how he wants to play this game. Maybe he wants to, if he has a Silumgar Scorn, he may want to wait until something like 7 mana and try to play Ojutai and then protect it. If he can get an Ojutai down and 1 swing in before they reach time, Jonathon has a chance.
It's a Temple.
But I don't just, with how Esper Dragons functions, it seems unlikely that he'll be able to get it in this amount of time.
It would be surprising. There's Hero's Downfall. Take care of the Manifest creature. It was a Seeker of the Way, so it was actually something real. Moore will draw. He'll play a Temple of Enlightenment. Take a look at the top card. That card's going to stay on top. I'll just pass the turn back. It's manifest yet again here for Master of the Unseen.
Another formless blue blob there off the Mastery.
Outpost Siege was the draw. I mean, unsurprisingly, both these players' decks are geared to go a little bit later. As you mentioned, they can kill quickly because dragons are very powerful, and if the cards don't line up correctly on the other side of the table, it can be problematic. But you see an Outpost Siege as the draw, and it's like, okay, Michael has interest in going long, and Jonathon's deck, of course, has interest in going longer.
Yeah, Seeker resolves. At some point, though, Villavicencio needs to just start making his dragons just as a concession to time.
Yes, let's try to win. Here's a Read the Bones. See if this resolves.
See, Jonathon holding that Read the Bones on the stack is going to make some plays.
It's going to be a dissolve. Does not want to let that resolve. So little Scry can leave that card on top, pass the turn back.
Still was the same card as it was on his turn.
Yep.
See just what was the card Jonathon was so excited to keep.
Didn't get a great look, so we're just going to pass the turn back over to Michael.
I believe it is a card draw. I think it's Dig Through Time. Which, this is so hard because both these players are making the correct plays for the matchup, but ones that don't win in the given the time parameters.
Yep.
Like Read the Bonesing last turn and playing Seeker, definitely the right play by Michael. That said, I'm not sure I preferred something like Dash Kolagon, Hit You Go.
Yeah, just try to win.
Yeah, be like, all right, I'm gonna deal some. Let's see if you have that kill spell.
Pretty much.
Like, you probably do, but
Here's a Thunderbreak Regent.
I like that from Michael. So we're in a position as we're about to reach time where I do believe that Michael can win in time. I think Jonathon's best outcome is a draw right now.
Jonathon can't win this game anymore.
Yeah.
Can he draw it? Sure.
Ojatai needs 4 hits to win. He's not going to have 4 turns. He's going to get. This is going to be turn 0, meaning Michael will get 3 more turns and Jonathon will get 2. So Jonathon's best outcome is a draw. The probable outcome's a draw, but Michael has a chance. Oh wait, actually no, we're on Michael's turn. We're on Michael's end steps, despite the fact Jonathon's resolving. So Jonathon will get 3 turns.
Yeah, so this is officially turn 0.
Yeah, Jonathon's next turn will be turn 1. That's actually a very important thing. It means that Michael only gets 2 attacks, which means I think even something simple like a kill spell for Thunderbreak Regent may be too hard for Michael to overcome.
Even though it does deal 3, that still might be too much. There's an island.
And that said, I fully expect that Jonathon does have a kill spell. Crux of Fate, Foul Tongue Invocation. I believe 2 Foul Tongue Invocations.
And he has a Slumgar in hand too, so he actually has a dragon to reveal.
This is the kind of situation that if we don't have time constraints, this Mastery is just so powerful.
Crux of Fate is going to choose non-dragons. Going to leave Thunderbreak Regent behind.
Kills a Seeker of the Way and then a Manifested Crackling Doom. And he's casting Crux here so that his Foul Tongue Invocations will get cards like Thunderbreak Regent. Not to mention, he's just getting power off the board. Michael gets 2 attacks. Okay, so here's attack bonus for 4. That means this next turn's attack will have to be for 9. Considering the fact that Jonathon can Edict twice, and if he has a dragon, gain 8, that would certainly put him out of range.
And he does have Slumgar in hand, so he does have a dragon that's necessary. There's a Seeker of the Way. And just a passing of the turn.
Yeah, and this one's just not going to reach its conclusion, unfortunately. This is a matchup I really would like to see play out more.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we just don't get to see it all that often. Esper Dragon's a pretty popular deck. Mardu Dragons is beginning to pick up in popularity. Well, we have not seen it much.
Yeah, we have 3 players on right now at X and 1 all playing Mardu Dragons, that is interesting from the event. Max Dressler, we saw him win on camera last round. My pick to make it into the top 8, play Mardu Dragons exceptionally. Michael Villavicencio, he's also playing it. He's at X and 1.
Got some Foul Tongue Invocations here.
Clifton Beach, your other one, defeated Jerry, also X and 1. All 3 of them Mardu Dragons.
It's the new hotness here. Yeah, I think, Michael, after those 2 Foul Tongue Invocations, I think he realizes now, yeah. You're at 17, I get to play 1 more turn? I don't think this is going to happen. I guess I can fire off this Crackling Doom. do you 2.
Yeah, I mean, in a different situation, Michael would have something like Outpost Siege, Mastery of the Unseen going. It would put a lot of pressure on Jonathon to draw his one of Perilous Vaults that he has on the sideboard.
Yeah, and the Ugin as well. There's Stormbreath Dragon. I mean, this is unfortunate. This would actually be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah. The Stormbreath Dragon, that's when you're supposed to stop and you're supposed to ask your opponent what they're at.
Yeah. Here's Hero's Downfall. That would kill that. And that's going to do it. These players are going to shake hands. It's going to be a draw. They're both going to move on to 9, 1-1. Well, Michael and Jonathon. So Mardu Dragons and Esper Dragons are into the draw bracket to conclude round number 11 here.
Yeah, if you look at their hands, there's really no clear winner yet at that point. Yes, Michael has a Mastery going and he has an Outpost Siege in hand, but Jonathon does have an Ugin, so Jonathon will be able to take care of the Mastery. Michael might get an Outpost Siege because Jonathon uses the Ugin one way, and then who knows what's happened.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think we're in for a pretty long, interesting game there. So both these players will move on to 9, 1-1 as we'll bring it back.